In this tutorial, I'll demonstrate how to install and configure Skedler Reports on the Docker platform. In this example, I have Elasticsearch and Kibana installed. Details on installing and configuring ELK and Kibana can be found on their official websites. The Linux version of Skedler can be downloaded from the Skedler website. First, I'll execute this command to pull the latest version of Skedler Reports in the Docker repository. Then I'll enter this command to run the Docker container and configure the persist folder, bind address, and port. These port numbers are set in the configuration file. Now that Skedler is installed, I'll work on the initial configuration. The configuration settings for Skedler Reports are stored in the reporting.yml file, which is located in the config folder. I need to edit the configuration file to point to Elasticsearch as the data source. To do that, I'll first run this command to open the file. Now I'm inside the reporting.yml file. I need secure users of Elasticsearch for user-based report creation and generation, so I'll uncomment this variable and change its value to false. I can also change the admin password. I'll uncomment and accept the default admin password. This is where I've defined the Elasticsearch URL for the data store, and I'll uncomment. If Elasticsearch uses security or basic authorization, then in this section I can uncomment and configure my username and password for ELK stack authentication. I'll close and save this configuration file. My initial configuration process is complete. As long as Elasticsearch and Kibana have already been launched, I can now launch Skedler as well. I'll enter this command to launch Skedler as a service. When I'm ready to stop Skedler, I would execute this command. Now that Skedler is launched, I'll open my browser and go to this URL, which loads my Skedler homepage. I'll log in using the admin credentials that I configured in the reporting.yml file. I now have to configure my data source. I could choose either ELK stack or Grafana. I'm using Elasticsearch in this example, so I'm choosing ELK stack. My data source name is ELK source, and I'll keep this default Elasticsearch URL. Elasticsearch SSL is optional, and I'll keep it disabled in this example. Now I need to enter my Kibana details. My Kibana URL is set to the default. I'll keep .kibana as the default index, and I'll keep Kibana SSL disabled. I'll enable authentication, and I'll enter usernames and passwords for both Elasticsearch and Kibana. Now I'll click Test and Save, and proceed to the next step of providing notification channel information. Notification channel can be either mail or Slack. I'll keep the mail option. I'll name the channel ELK Mail, and keep the default Others option for supported service. Next, I'll enter my outgoing server URL and port details. Again, I'll leave SSL disabled. Next, I'll enter the sender's email and enable the password, and enter the admin email for the person who will be receiving the report. I'll test and save again, and proceed to the report creation step. I'll enter this report name, which is what will appear in the subject line of the report email. My data source will be the ELK source data source. The report type will be dashboard, and I'll choose the dashboard I want. I have the option to select a filter, but I'll leave this as no filter. For time range, I'll uncheck the default and configure my own time window of this week. I could add a tag to classify the report. And finally, there is an optional advanced option to specify the report output directory. If I don't specify anything, the default directory will be used. To proceed to the report design step, I'll click the link at the top. I could change the report title if needed, and I'll choose PDF as the file format to generate. I can also include an Excel report by checking this box. For template, I'll keep the default, which uses Smart Layout, but I could click Custom Layout if I want to choose a different layout. Clicking Download Template opens a list of templates I can choose from. I'll proceed to the Schedule step. I can schedule reports to be sent on an hourly basis, or monthly, yearly, etc., then click Schedule. The last step is Distribute. From the drop-down, I'll select the report. I'll enter an email recipient. I could add a CC or BCC if needed, and I can keep the default message or edit it. For this message, I'll merge the dashboard URL parameter into the message. I can also add an optional warning message. The report setup is complete, so I'll click Save and Exit. My report now appears in the dashboard, where I have download links for both the PDF and Excel reports. Here is the downloaded Excel version of the report, and here is the downloaded PDF. Under Actions, I can edit the schedule, and I can email the report immediately if I don't want to wait until the scheduled time. And when I open the email that was sent, the Excel and PDF files are included as attachments.